Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is to really cut through the noise around pharmaceutical quality management. We want to give you a clear roadmap for the digital future.
hmm
We're talking about how pharma is shifting quality from, what's always been seen as this burdensome cost.
Just a compliance thing.
Exactly, a compliance headache
Yeah.
into a real strategic advantage.
A competitive advantage, even.
So if you're trying to get your head around the 7 big challenges in this transformation, the tech behind it, and critically the actual quantifiable ROI, then you are definitely in the right place.
Right. And we're going to unpack this idea of quality 4.0 across what really matters: people, process, and technology.
So where do we start? This whole shift seems to be guided by a couple of huge concepts.
That's right. Two main ideas are driving everything. The first is something called quality by digital design, or QBDD.
QBDD.
It's a proactive philosophy. So instead of just testing a product at the very end and hoping it's good, you design the quality in from the absolute beginning using science and digital tools.
So you're building it in, not inspecting it in.
Precisely. And QBDD relies on integrating tools like real-time process analytical technology, that's PAT, and continuous process verification, CPV, right into the workflow itself.
Okay, so QBDD is the approach, the philosophy. What's the infrastructure that actually makes it happen?
That would be quality 4.0. It's basically applying all those industry 4.0 principles,
Mm-hmm.
connectivity, AI, big data, to good manufacturing practices, GMP.
Right.
It means moving from those disconnected paper silos to a fully integrated, data-driven ecosystem. The whole idea is to control your critical quality attributes automatically.
And automate compliance. I see FDA's 21 CFR Part 11 mentioned here for electronic record.
Exactly. It's about building trust directly into the digital system.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting at the foundation. If companies are really moving out of the paper age, the first step has to be overhauling the systems they use every single day.
Yes, and that first step is often the most painful. We start with digital quality management systems, or eQMS. For decades, quality systems were paper, or maybe worse, this fragmented mess of different software.
Oh, I've seen that. Every department has its own little spreadsheet.
A nightmare.
Yeah.
So the challenge is consolidating everything: document control, training, deviations, KPAs into one central cloud-based eQMS.
And what's guiding that implementation? It can't be random.
No, not at all. It has to be structured and aligned with ICHQ-10 guidelines.
Ah.
That's the framework for a proper pharmaceutical quality system covering the whole product lifecycle.
That sounds like a monster project. Looking at the data we have, what's the sticker shock on that?
It's substantial. For a true enterprise-grade system, with the software, the validation, all the services, you're probably looking at $1.9 million to $3.8 million.
Wow. Okay, that's a big number.
It is, but think about the pain it solves. The risk of getting a regulatory finding because of lost records or fragmented data is just huge.
But the board is going to ask, where's the quantitative return on, say, $3.5 million?
And the ROI is compelling. It hits operational efficiency so hard. You should see about a 65% reduction in overall deviations because the system itself enforces compliance.
Okay.
And this is critical. You get a 90% faster deviation closure time. Think about that. A deviation that used to take a batch offline for weeks.
Now it's days.
Exactly. Plus, audit prep is suddenly 40% more efficient. Everything's just there.
That directly translates to product moving out the door.
Okay, let's move from the QMS backbone to the lab itself. Challenge number 2.
Yeah.
Automated quality control and testing.
Right. This is where we go from just digitizing paper to actually achieving, true process control.
And this is where it starts to feel a bit like sci-fi, right? AI in the lab.
A little bit. The tech focus here is things like AI-powered computer vision for automated inspection of vials or tablets. It spots defects a human eye would miss. And we see sophisticated robotics handling a lot of the high-volume analytical testing. So what's the practical application? What does this mean for a production leader?
It means creating a true paperless lab. But the real key, the goal, is integrating those process analytical technology, or PA sensors, all through the line. They analyze the product during manufacturing, not just at the end.
The investment here is even higher, I see, around $2.45 to $4.9 million. So what's the single biggest win for that money?
It's speed. I mean, the productivity gains are great, 50 to 100%, but the transformative win is real-time product release.
So no more waiting for final QC tests.
If you can verify the quality continuously as it's being made, you can slash that time to market by a massive 60% to 70%. That's not just an efficiency gain, it's a fundamental competitive shift.
Okay, moving from the lab to the process itself, the whole point of QBDD is vigilance, which brings us to challenge 3, continuous monitoring and process verification, CPV.
Yeah, and CTV is a total paradigm shift.
Huh?
Traditional quality was about checking things at a few specific points. CPV is about using a risk-based approach to ensure the process stays in a state of control throughout its entire life cycle.
And technology is what makes that possible.
Absolutely. We're talking about dense networks of IoT sensors. For instance, the new Annex 1 rules for sterile manufacturing. They mandate continuous particle counting. This flood of data is then managed by AI and machine learning algorithms that are looking for these subtle, weird trends.
Things a human would never spot.
Exactly. Things that signal a deviation is about to happen long before it actually does.
The idea of the digital twin seems fascinating here. How does a simulation of the manufacturing line actually help with quality?
The digital twin it's a live virtual copy of your physical process. It lets the quality teams run what-if scenarios without ever risking a single drop of actual product.
You can test failure modes digitally.
You can test failure modes, you can optimize control settings. It shifts quality from being retrospective, what went wrong, to being predictive, what might go wrong.
And the result of that predictive power.
A direct 40% reduction in batch failures. You catch the problem and fix it before the batch is ruined.
Predictive capability. That's a perfect lead-in to our next segment on proactive risk management. For our listener who's always focused on complexity, tell us how the industry does risk-based quality management, or RBQM, in this new world.
Well, RBQM is the structural framework for all the vigilance we just talked about. It's about setting up a systematic process rooted in the ICH Q9 and Q10 guidelines. You create tools like FMEA failure mode and effects analysis and risk ranking matrices.
So it's about being smart with your resources, not treating every single thing as a top priority.
That's the key. The digital system forces this systematic prioritization. So you might apply way more stringent controls and sensors to a high-risk material, while maybe reducing oversight on a validated low-risk part of the process.
Optimizing quality resources has a clear benefit to that.
Absolutely. You see about a 30% reduction in quality-related incidents. And, just as important, regulators love this. Companies report a 20% reduction in inspection findings when they can show a robust RBQM system.
And the investment is a bit lower here.
Yeah, it's more about consulting and software than heavy machinery, so you're looking at around $1.25 to $2.5 million. But you could argue it's the most important process change of all.
Okay, so now we're stepping fully into what you might call the intelligence age. We've done systems and risk. Now let's talk about AI driving the process control itself.
Right. This is where we move from basic control charts to AI-enhanced statistical process control, or AI-SPC.
So it's not just tracking one thing at a time, it's seeing how everything connects.
Exactly. Traditional SPC tracks one variable, maybe two. AI-SPC uses machine learning to analyze these complex, multivariate relationships between dozens of parameters at once.
So if temperature, pressure, and mixed speed all drift in some subtle interconnected way.
That AI spots it instantly when a human might miss it for hours, and then it can deploy automated controls to make these tiny, real-time adjustments to keep everything perfectly optimized.
Making real-time changes based on that much data. That sounds like optimization on steroids. What's the impact on the actual product?
This is where you really see it hit the bottom line. It leads to a 20 to 30% improvement in process yield. That's less waste, more product, and crucially, a 50% reduction in process variability. The AI just keeps the process in a much tighter performance window.
That lower variability feeds right into our next point, quality by design, or QBD. Now, QBD has been around for a while. How do digital tools change the game?
Well, QBD requires a massive amount of data collection up front.
Yeah.
You have to implement the whole framework, that's ICH Q8 through Q11, from the very earliest stages. You start by defining the quality target product profile, basically the fingerprint of the perfect product.
And digital tools just make that data crunching possible.
They make it practical. Specifically, you use sophisticated design of experiments, or DOE software, to systematically map out the optimal manufacturing design space. Digital platforms manage all that data and make sure your process parameters are tightly linked to your quality attributes.
So by doing all that quality work up front, what's the strategic gain?
You see another 40% reduction in batch failures because the process is just designed from the ground up to be robust. And this systematic, data-rich approach actually shortens the path to regulatory approval. We're seeing a 25% reduction in the overall development timeline.
Okay, we've covered the whole life cycle, design to control. The final challenge is maybe the least sexy, but the most essential.
The paperwork.
The paperwork, digital documentation and compliance.
It's the backbone holding it all up. If your data isn't reliable, none of the fancy AI matters. The focus here is on implementing electronic batch records, or EBRs, and making sure everything complies with FDA's 21 CFR Part 11.
Electronic signatures, audit trails.
All of it. The problem with paper records is just human error. Manual entries, missed sign-offs. Digital systems enforce the process and capture data directly from the equipment. The audit trail is created automatically.
So what's the tangible benefit there?
Huge efficiency gains.
No.
You see a 60% reduction in documentation errors, which are a major cause of inspection failures. And because the system automates everything, you get a 50% faster batch, record review, and approval process. That's time saved, product shipped, faster and cleaner.
So, let's take a breath. What does this all mean for a pharma executive or a quality leader? We've just mapped out 7 massive interconnected areas of change.
The scope is clear. This is a full-scale digital transformation. The total investment across these 7 challenges, depending on the size of the company, can range from $13.2 million to $26.4 million.
Over 2 to 3 years.
Over 24 to 36 months, yeah. What you're buying is speed, efficiency, and robustness. But the implementation has to focus on 3 things that aren't purely tech.
Okay, what are they?
First, a massive focus on data integrity. You have to build data governance frameworks that ensure ALCOA plus principles are followed. Attributable, legible, contemporaneous.
Right, garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
If the data is bad, the AI is bad.
Exactly. Second, change management. You are asking people who have signed paper for 30 years to trust an algorithm.
Yeah.
You have to invest heavily in the cultural shift and the training.
And the third.
A rock-solid validation strategy. This is critical for the regulators. You have to develop these comprehensive validation protocols, especially for the AI systems. You have to prove to the FDA that the system is predictable and does what it's supposed to do, even if it's learning.
That point about validating a dynamic learning AI system,
Yeah.
That's where the rubber really meets the road. And it brings us to our final thought for you to chew on.
Mm-hmm.
If these AI systems are getting so good that they are continuously learning and dynamically improving process control, all while maintaining perfect product quality, well, does the traditional concept of a fixed, validated process with lockdown parameters even make sense anymore?
That's the question.
Do regulators need to evolve toward a model of a continuously validating process that accepts these self-optimizing systems? That's the strategic question that's going to define the regulatory landscape of Quality 4.0.